Today, I am going to be designing an acne routine for oily skin. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Dr. Dustin, a board-certified dermatologist, and acne is one of the most common conditions that I treat in my clinic on a daily basis. And today we're going to be talking about all of the products that you can use for a morning and an evening routine. And I've got a couple of bonus tips that I'm going to throw in that I don't see a lot of other people talk about that might give you the edge if you've tried a lot of different products over the counter. Now, if you feel like your face is just swimming in oil by the end of the day, it might leave you questioning, why does your skin produce oil in the first place? What is the purpose? What is the function? Well, I'm going to dive into that just a little bit so you can understand why oil is actually important for our skin, but then what you can do to control it if you're producing more than normal amount. Now, our skin produces oil almost everywhere, with a few exceptions like the palms and the soles. They don't really produce oil there. We don't have sebum, oil-producing glands there. But everywhere else, pretty much, we have oil-producing glands, and some areas of the skin have different types. Now, one of the main functions of oil on the skin is, of course, moisturization. If our skin gets super dry, it can crack, and we're more likely to get infections. And so having a natural moisturizing factor in the skin is actually very important, not only to the health of your skin, but also to your overall health, so that you're not at risk of getting infections, you're not having pain or itching all of the time. So oil production does serve an important purpose. In addition, oil is protective, not just because of the moisturizing factors, but those oils have natural antibiotic properties to them that can help to protect us against invasive bacteria, viruses, and fungus that live on the skin that could get into our bodies and prove to be harmful. Now, of course, we have a natural microbiome, and those bacteria, viruses, and fungus are healthy for us, but we're bombarded all the time from external sources of lots of things that could actually do us harm, and the oil on our skin helps to protect us against that. Also, oil can help to protect us against environmental pollution. There's a lot of things that we encounter that are not microbes that could lead to problems on the skin, and of course, lubrication for your hair and other things so that you don't get dry and dull hair. Hair actually serves important sensory receptor purposes, so oil does serve a lot of important purposes for our health, but it can be really frustrating if you're producing more than average amounts. So if you tend to be on the higher side of producing oil, it's important also to understand what influences oil production in the body. Well, the first one is genetics. Some people are just going to be genetically wired to produce more oil than other people, where some people produce less oil and they're going to be more dry skin types. And there is not really much we can do to influence your genetics when it comes to oil production. So then we're going to get into the things that we might have a little bit of control over. The next thing that influences oil production is going to be our hormones. So those hormones include largely androgens like testosterone in the body. And this is why we see flares of acne often around puberty, but we can also see other hormones influence that and see flares of acne and increased oil production around pregnancy, around the menstrual cycle, and just having extra stress hormones depending on how you live your life and what kind of stresses that you are under, and the way that you psychologically respond to those stressors can all make a difference in your oil production and therefore your acne. Now, diet and lifestyle also play an important role in your oil production and therefore your acne. So what we know when it comes to foods that we eat and acne and even oil production is that for some people, dairy does seem to be more of a cause of producing more oil or more acne. And we don't have a lot of studies on this, but anecdotally, just from speaking to patients and from the studies that we do have, we tend to see a bigger problem with this in individuals who consume a lot of skim milk. When it comes to strictly the acne studies, we didn't see as much with whole milk or 1% milk or anything like that. So we're not really sure why, if it's a difference in protein and fat ratios in skim milk, but some people just in general with the dairy, they will experience more oil production. Also, foods that are really high in sugar, foods that have a high glycemic index, that are simple carbs that are rapidly converted into sugars in your body that are going to spike your insulin levels. All of those things can impact the way that your hormones work in the body and may precipitate increased oil production as well as acne. And again, we're going to touch briefly on stress, just because some people with their lifestyle are involved in activities or working jobs that are going to be more stress-inducing, and those things can have an impact on your oil production as well as your acne. I've seen so many people come in right after finals week because of all the stress, and their acne is flaring up. It's just from all that stress. And usually over finals week, let's be honest, we're not eating good food. We're drinking energy drinks, staying up late at night, and eating a lot of junk food just to power through all of those study sessions. And lastly, there are environmental factors that might influence your oil production and therefore your precipitation towards acne. And that can be very humid weather, very hot weather, or if in an effort to remove oil, you've scrubbed your face really hard and really stripped away a lot of your natural oils, your body may try to compensate for that by increasing oil production. Now that we understand a little bit about what influences our oil production and acne, let's dive in to a morning and then an evening skincare routine with a couple extra tips kind of sprinkled in there that I will mention. The foundation of any skincare routine is going to be cleansing. And when it comes to controlling oil and acne, there's a couple of ingredients in particular that you should be looking for. So let's talk cleansing. The first cleansers are going to be those with salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is a beta hydroxy acid, and it's one of the more effective ingredients to help remove excess oil from the skin. Now, depending on how much oil you produce or how much acne you have, there are some options here with different strengths of salicylic acid. Starting with the CeraVe SA cleanser, this is a very low strength salicylic acid, so it's not going to be too drying or too stripping to the skin, but it's going to help to remove some of that excess oil, and it's going to give you a nice clean. It's gentle enough to use twice a day if this is going to be your primary cleanser. Next up is the CeraVe Acne Control Cleanser. This one is dedicated to treating acne because it is a 2% salicylic acid. It also has niacinamide in it, which is another ingredient that's going to help to regulate oil production. So when we have ingredients for acne, there's some that remove excess oil from the skin and some that help control oil production. And then there's also ingredients that we're going to touch on that actually help to absorb excess oil from the skin. But the CeraVe Acne Control Cleanser contains a 2% salicylic acid, and if you're really oily, you could still use this as a twice a day cleanser, so we'll carry over some of these to our nighttime routine. Most foaming cleansers are going to do a good job even if they don't have a lot of salicylic acid in them. If it's a foaming cleanser, I find that they just do a little bit better job of removing excess oil from the skin, which leads us into option number 3, the Cetaphil Derma Control Oil Removing Foam Wash. Now this wash does not have salicylic acid in it like the others, so it's going to be less targeted specifically to treating acne, but it is going to do a really good job to remove excess oil, and the claim that they make is that it removes 99% of excess oil without over drying or stripping the skin. It does have hydrating ingredients in it to leave you not feeling dry and tight, and it has zinc, which is another ingredient that can play a role in regulating oil production. As we continue with the morning routine for acne-prone skin that is very oily, let's talk about a couple ingredients you can use to treat acne that you can obtain over the counter without a prescription from a dermatologist. The first is the CeraVe Acne Control Gel. Again, we're coming in with salicylic acid on this because salicylic acid is going to help dry up some of those pimples that you have while also removing excess oil from the skin. This has a 2% salicylic acid, and it is designed to be a leave-on product, so you can put it on the skin and leave it on all day. It also has niacinamide, again coming in with that other ingredient to help regulate oil production. This gel is going to do a really good job to help take care of pimples that have already surfaced, and I find that salicylic acid at 2% is really quite effective for those deep cystic pimples because you do get a little bit of penetration there down to the oil gland to help dry that up even if they don't want to come to a head. The next option for treating your acne in the morning is going to be the Thayer's Rapid Acne Treatment. This has an ingredient of 10% sulfur, and I think sulfur is unappreciated. a lot of times when it comes to the treatment of acne, but sulfur is a natural antibiotic that can help to kill the bacteria that cause acne, but it also helps to absorb some of that excess oil off the skin. This is also formulated with a 10% niacinamide, again coming in to help regulate that oil production. Now you probably won't want to use both a salicylic acid spot treatment and a sulfur spot treatment, but you can kind of experiment and find which one works better for you. One of the caveats of using a sulfur-based treatment is that they tend to be smelly. I have found in using the rapid acne treatment that they did a pretty good job of masking the fragrance here. It's not overpowering, but they didn't add extra fragrance to it. So the chemists were able to create a formula that really isn't overpowering with that sulfur smell that you do get from some other products. Once you've cleansed your skin and you've treated that acne with ingredients that are geared towards oil control, it is time to protect your skin, and contrary to popular belief, you absolutely should be wearing sunscreen even if you have super oily skin. One of the bigger challenges that patients have of mine and consumers that I hear from on social media is that a lot of sunscreens tend to feel really heavy on the skin. They tend to make you feel more oily. And so we're going to explore a couple of options here that are very lightweight, that are going to do a good job to leave a more matte finish on the skin without leaving you feeling even more greasy than when you started. Option number one is the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun. They sent this to me a while back and I have loved using it. This is a very lightweight Korean sunscreen. It does not sit heavy on the skin, and I use this all of the time, even all the way up over my head. It does not leave a heavy feeling on the skin, and it provides an SPF 50 level protection. This is going to be a great option for those with acne-prone skin who tend to produce a lot of oil, because it's not going to add another layer on top that feels really heavy. Option number two is the Isntree Hyaluronic Acid Watery Sun Gel, another Korean sunscreen, and I really just find that the Korean sunscreens are a lot better than a lot of the ones we have available in the US. They have better filters, they have better UVA protection, and this is going to be a really great option for your skin. It's the one that I took to Hawaii when I went last year, just because it was really hot and humid over there and I wanted a lightweight sunscreen that was going to protect my skin, and this one did an excellent job. And I'm going to have links to all of these products right down in the video description. If you want to check them out from there, I would appreciate you clicking on those links. I'm going to leave you with a third sunscreen option, and that is the Mantle Invisible Daily SPF. This is an SPF 30 sunscreen, but the unique thing about it is that it is a gel. It is totally clear and transparent, and it is designed to leave a matte finish on the skin. Of all of the sunscreens that I have in my bathroom, this is the one that I use most frequently. And again, I use it on my face. It doesn't gunk up in facial hair, and I can take it all the way up over my head, and I know it's not going to leave me more shiny throughout the day. So this can be another great option that feels very nice on the skin, even if you tend to produce a lot of oil. All of these options are non-comedogenic. They're not going to plug up your pores and make your acne worse. Now, I told you guys I was going to have a couple of bonus tips in here, and at the end of your morning routine, even after you put on sunscreen, there's another product called OC8, and this is a professional mattifying gel. So this is a gel that goes onto the skin and helps to scatter light so you don't look shiny, and it helps to absorb some of that excess oil. This product was first developed for professional photographers and news anchors who are in front of bright lights and always on camera, and they have the potential to get really shiny, especially when it's hot and they start sweating. And this is designed to last for 8 hours, so you can put this on, go to work, and know that it's going to help to control the appearance of that oil on the skin for up to 8 hours. So OC8, Oil Control 8. It's a really great product, and I don't think it's really appreciated, and I haven't heard a lot of other people talk about it, but it is another good option you could consider to put into your routine if you have super oily skin. Now, before we get into the nighttime routine, I understand that my patients, and I'm sure that you are out there living your life, you might be involved in sports or other activities, or just working outside, and you're in this place where you can't shower right away, and you've worked up a sweat, you're producing a ton of oil throughout the day, and your acne often will flare if you're not able to clean your skin very quickly. And that's where it can be really handy to keep some salicylic acid pads handy in your gym bag or in the vehicle. And the ones that I really like to recommend are the blemish clearing pads, again from Thayer's. This is a 2% salicylic acid, and this is the same as their acne control toner. This is a great dupe for the Paula's Choice BHA, but I love to recommend that my patients keep these in their gym bag, and then after practice or after a game, they can wipe down quickly if they can't get home and shower right away. So now we've covered the morning routine and a couple of bonus tips to help control acne and oil throughout the day. Let's get into the nighttime routine for acne-prone skin with oily skin. Once again, we're going to start the routine with a cleanser, and all of the cleansers that I've already mentioned are totally appropriate to use here. Now, if you do tend to get dry from the routine that we're talking about, you probably want to use your dedicated acne cleanser at nighttime, and in the morning time, you might actually prefer to use just a gentle hydrating cleanser. Something from Cetaphil or the CeraVe hydrating cleanser are going to do a good job to help remove any oil that accumulated overnight without being extra drying on your skin. So after your skin has been cleansed, this is where you want to bring in a retinol. When we talk about other ingredients that can help to control oil production, retinol is one of the best. It does have an impact on your oil glands, and it's one of the most effective ingredients to treat acne. I write prescription strength tretinoin and other retinoids all day in my clinic because of their efficacy in controlling acne, and they also help so well on oil production. My favorite one to recommend over the counter is going to be Differin 0.1% adapalene. This used to be only available by prescription, but a few years ago it did go over the counter, and I actually sell it in my clinic, and it's easily available on lots of places online. There will be links down in the video description. Differin is a staple in acne treatment, and it is a true retinoid medication, so it doesn't have to go through conversion steps in order to be active in the skin. La Roche-Posay also makes an Effaclar 0.1% adapalene, and it's very similar, just formulated by the La Roche-Posay scientists. It includes their thermal spring water and a lot of other ingredients to help build your microbiome. So those are two really great options, and my favorites to recommend for my patients who want an over-the-counter option that helps to control their acne and can also help on oil production. The retinol that I choose to use every day is the Skin Better Alpha Ret. This is very similar to prescription strength tretinoin 0.025. It was studied head-to-head against there, primarily for anti-aging purposes, but it was superior to 0.025% tretinoin, and it's also formulated with lactic acid as well as glycolic acid, and those are also going to be ingredients that help to control acne. It is more expensive, definitely more expensive, but in that bottle you get about 5 months of therapy from it, so it does make it a little bit more reasonable over the long term. If none of those options work well for you, there's so many retinols available over the counter, and depending on the one you get, you may find that it does a better job or maybe not quite as good for controlling your acne, and you will have to do a little bit of trial and error to find a retinol that works well for you. But my favorites are going to be Differin, La Roche-Posay, and then Skin Better Alpha Ret. Now, as your last step in your evening skincare routine, we do want to still protect the skin. A lot of the things that we're doing will have the potential to cause dryness, and it is important to use a moisturizer even if you have oily skin, even if you have acne. So we're going to choose a moisturizer that does not sit too heavy on the skin and can also help to control some of that oil production that you'll have overnight. Option number one is going to be the Cetaphil Mattifying Acne Moisturizer. This does have a 0.5% salicylic acid, so not only does this help to leave a matte finish on the skin, but it has ingredients again to help remove excess oil from the skin and to directly treat acne. This is going to be okay to use in the routine that we've talked about, and it should play well with your retinol. This is designed to be a lightweight moisturizer that doesn't sit too heavy on the skin. And as another option, if you don't want more salicylic acid in your routine, there's the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Double Repair Matte Moisturizer. That is a mouthful. But La Roche-Posay, again, big fan of their products. And this one has silica and perlite in it, which help to absorb some of that excess oil. So you're not going to be left looking shiny, even though we're using this to go to bed. But it's a really good moisturizer that you can use day or night, honestly. And it's going to not sit heavy on the skin. It's going to leave your skin feeling really, really nice. So that covers our morning and evening acne routine for oily skin. I hope this was helpful for you guys. And I'm going to be coming out with a whole series on acne treatments for different skin types. So let me know which one one you want to see next, and I'll have it up here on the video when that comes out. Otherwise, check out some of the other videos on the channel, and remember, when you purchase products through the links provided, it helps me in my mission to provide free dermatology care through our new mobile clinic, and I've got lots of those videos coming on the channel as well. So I appreciate your support, and let me know what topics you'd like to see here on the channel. I'll see you guys next time.